1. The abandoned farmhouse. When I was 16, my friends and I had a bad habit of sneaking into places we weren't supposed to. Old factories, derelict houses, railway tunnels. If it was off-limits, we wanted to see it. One night we dared each other to explore a crumbling farmhouse that sat at the edge of town. Everyone knew the place. Its windows were boarded, its fields overgrown, and its roof sagged like a broken spine. Rumor had it the farmer hanged himself in the barn decades ago, and no one had touched the property since. We climbed over the rusted gate, flashlights jittering across the weeds. The house loomed larger as we approached, its broken chimney outlined against the moon. Inside, the air was thick with mold and rot. Wallpaper peeled like dead skin, and rats skittered between the cracks. We thought it was just another empty ruin, until we heard the footsteps upstairs. We froze, lights darting. No one should have been there. The place had no electricity, no furniture, nothing of value. And yet the thud of boots across warped floorboards echoed overhead. "Hello?" my friend Mark called, voice trembling. No answer. Only silence. We should have left. Instead, stupid pride made us creep up the staircase, with groaning under our weight. At the top, the hallway stretched into darkness. And there, at the far end, stood a man. Or what we thought was a man. His head lolled unnaturally to the side, as though his neck was broken. A rope dangled from it, swaying slightly, even though there was no breeze. His eyes were black pits that caught our torchlight and seemed to swallow it whole. We bolted. I don't even remember running down the stairs, only bursting into the night air, lungs burning, legs weak. None of us ever went back. Years later, the farmhouse was torn down. I still avoid that road. 2. The tunnel by the tracks. My uncle used to tell me not to go near the disused railway tunnel outside our village. "It's sealed for a reason," he'd say, but never explained why. Naturally, as a teenager, I had to see it for myself. The entrance was choked with ivy and brambles. A rusted metal gate had been chained across, but someone had cut the links. With a friend daring me on, I slipped inside. The tunnel was long and curved, swallowing the light. I walked slowly, phone torch cutting through the damp air. The walls dripped, and every sound echoed: my footsteps, my breathing, the occasional squeak of unseen rats. Halfway through, I felt the temperature drop. My breath misted. Then came the whisper. It wasn't words, not exactly. Just a hiss that seemed to curl around my ears. My torch flickered, then died. Panic clawed at me. In the pitch dark, I heard the scrape of something moving behind me, long, dragging, like nails against stone. I bolted, slamming into the walls, skin tearing on brick. I ran until I spilled back into daylight, gasping. My friend swore he hadn't heard anything, hadn't seen anything. But when I looked down, scratches marred my forearm. Not from brick, they were too neat, too deliberate. The tunnel has since been resealed. No one dares cut the chains anymore. 3. The country manor. In my 20s, I worked as a part-time photographer. A friend told me about an abandoned country manor miles from town, supposedly filled with crumbling staircases and ivy-covered halls, the perfect backdrop for moody shots. I went one gray afternoon, camera bag slung across my shoulder. The gates were locked, so I climbed them. The driveway was cracked and overgrown, leading to a mansion that looked like it had stepped out of another century. Inside, the rooms were vast, ceilings painted with flaking frescoes. Dust lay thick as snow, but everything felt strangely preserved, as though the owners had simply vanished one day. I was photographing an old dining room when I heard a chair scrape. Slowly I turned. At the head of the long oak table, a figure sat in shadow. It was a woman in a faded gown, her face obscured by a veil. She didn't move. I blinked, heart thundering, and raised my camera instinctively. The lens focused and she was gone. I left immediately, stumbling down the stairs, snapping shots without looking just to convince myself I wasn't imagining things. Later, when I developed the photos, most were blurred. But one image showed the dining room clearly, empty, but for that chair. And in the tall mirror against the wall, A woman in a veil stared directly at the camera. I never picked up my camera again. 4. The forest cabin. The last story still unsettles me the most. I was hiking with 2 friends when we strayed off the trail and found a cabin deep in the woods. It looked deserted, shutters closed, porch collapsing, no path leading to it. Curiosity won, and we decided to peek inside. The door was unlocked. The air inside was stale, heavy with mildew. On a table in the center of the single room sat dozens of Polaroid photos, arranged in neat rows. At first we thought they were landscapes, but as we looked closer, our stomachs turned. They were pictures of people sleeping, in their beds, on sofas, even children in cribs. None seemed aware the photos were being taken. Then we found the most recent one. It was of us, hiking that very morning. We ran, crashing through trees until we found the trail again. None of us spoke until we were safely back in the car park. That night, my bedroom window rattled. On my desk, where I hadn't left anything, lay a single Polaroid. It was of me, sleeping,